So I know, Leslie, that you has 20 years background in fashion industry. So before speaking about today, so your vision about digital fashion and why it's important for you education, I would like to know a little bit about your background.
Okay, so where would you like me to start? I studied fashion design in Edinburgh and then at the Royal College of Art in London. I worked as a fashion designer for a number of years for some luxury brands and some names that you would know. I worked in Italy for a while as well for Stefanel and Zegna and a knitwear company in near Venice. I had my own company in London. We had a factory as well. I designed for and we manufactured for top-end menswear. And then I gradually got into education and worked for an American university based in London. And then I moved to Amsterdam. I moved to Brussels in 2001. And I soon started working in Amsterdam Fashion Institute as head of the fashion design department. And then at the beginning of COVID 2020, I decided it was time to leave my job after nearly 15 years, which was far, far too long, because I was really interested in researching into digitalization in fashion. And I couldn't do that in my job there because it was too much of a senior management role. So I started working on researching this with someone who I used to work with in Amphi. And we decided that we should actually make an education because we were interviewing lots of people in the nascent technology, so in kind of young technology companies. And we realized that they really knew nothing about fashion. So we thought there's something that we can actually do here, that both my business partner, Sean, and I have lots of experience in the industry and in education. And we knew that there was a growing skills gap between what education was teaching and what people would need going forward, what the industry would need going forward. So we decided to make an online course, which we did in collaboration with a very good production company in New York and also Parsons in New York. And we built our first course, Digital Fashion 101, which is about demystifying what's happening in digitalization in the fashion industry. We sell that B2C on our platform. And then we made another course for Coursera with Parsons, in collaboration with Parsons. And Coursera is the biggest learning platform in the world. It's around about 72 million learners. And we did that. And then we made a skills course for our own platform, which is about how a designer would pivot from being an analog designer to being a digital designer. And that's 3Design. That's called 3Design. And we started that about 3 months ago. We started selling that about 3 months ago. So we have been selling courses for almost a year and a half. And we have educated over 6,500 people in that time. So our impact has been quite big. As well as having our courses, we also work with industry and we consult with industry about how they can move towards a more digitalized organization. And we use our courses to build kind of customized training programs for them. We also work with higher education. We train lecturers in how to build a digital curriculum. And we're also building a series of masterclasses for Bloomsbury Press, which is the largest academic publishers in the world. A series of masterclasses about digital fashion. So we're doing lots and lots of different things at the same time. So we're very busy. So that's a kind of very fast bringing you up to date on where I've been. I've probably answered other questions as I've.
What is for you important now in digital fashion? So which is the good innovation and which is your vision in digital fashion? Which is the direction that is taken according your experience? And yes.
Yeah. So when we started looking at digital fashion, we looked at digital fashion very much from the angle of digital fashion, or digital could be a very pragmatic tool to ensure a more sustainable industry. And that is still, for us, at the core of what we are doing. And we're particularly looking at the creative. So we believe going forward in the future, the creator or the creative should be center stage in the data dialogue, very close to the consumer, in an ongoing conversation with the consumer, and very close to the manufacturer in an on-demand structure. So since we started working on building our courses and building what we're doing, the metaverse exploded and NFTs and that whole thing, which has been very much hyped, because although there are developments happening and we're moving towards Web3, which is the next level of the internet, it's not really there at the moment. It's still not there. So there's a lot being talked about, but there's not so much actually there. So I would say my future vision of digital fashion is very much about a clearer digitalization of the fashion industry to ensure a cleaner, greener fashion industry. It's very easy to digitalize the very beginning process, from ideation through to product presentation, can be 100% digital and therefore 100% sustainable, or thereabouts. And then it's very easy to digitalize the process of marketing, selling, the whole e-commerce side of things. That's straightforward enough. The part that's most difficult to digitalize and digitize is the part in the middle, the huge part of manufacturing, the mills and all the manufacturing and making. That will take us much, much longer to bring that on board with digitalization, because it's such a huge part of the industry. And it's also very expensive for them to digitalize. So I would see going forward that area is more, it becomes more digitalized. As far as the metaverse goes, I think that really becomes, or should become, I think perhaps we will forget using the word metaverse. We'll just be using the word, it's the next iteration of the internet. It's a more three-dimensional variation of the internet. So it's somewhere that we can be, we can go, we can work, we can live, we can share, we can shop, we can play, we can meet our friends, we can all do that, all these different things in different ways, whether it's immersive, so that you've got on your Oculus or whatever, or whether it's with smart glasses, which will be the next thing, the next big thing. I will I would say that probably within 5 to 10 years, we will not be using mobile phones anymore, but we will be using smart glasses with augmented reality continually working. So if you can imagine, with smart glasses, you walk into a store, you have your smart glasses on, augmented reality, mixed realities take over, in the sense of, you see avatars, you will see directions where you're supposed to go, you will be continually guided. I would say that was probably the most realistic future of where digital is going. And then how fashion relates to that, in sense of promotion and selling, and also how we wear fashion in different ways. So if you can imagine, with your smart glasses on, you're connected to your friends like you are in your phones. So when you see your friends, they can see what you have chosen them, what you have chosen for them to see you wearing that day. So everybody else who's not connected to you will see you in your normal clothes, and your friends will see you in this, dragon outfit or something. So I think that it's going to work on very, very different levels. It's not only on a gaming level, on playing with augmented reality. It's also going to be very much on a level which goes through the manufacturing side of fashion, and really changes the way that we live with fashion and that we work with fashion.
And I know that you are the co-founder of the fashion group. And so how does it work? Because I know that you used to connect the fashion schools with the industry, but in which way?
So how it works? Well, we have a platform where anybody can enter the platform and can sign up for the courses. And so that's the B2C part of it. So they pay, they do the course, they work through the course on our platform. It's all recorded, but there are personal reflection moments. So they reflect on what they've seen, they answer quizzes, we or our team respond to their reflections and their quizzes. We also, as I said earlier, we work with brands and with education, and we work with them in different ways. In many ways, what we do as a digital fashion group is that we curate knowledge about digital fashion. We interview people, we attend conferences, we write articles for trade magazines. We are very knowledgeable about what's happening in digital fashion. So we curate all that information, we take in all that information, and then we present that information in different ways. So either we interview people, and then, like you're doing to me just now, and then we edit that, and then we present that as part of a course, or we have webinars, or we just do it in different ways. So we're really curating the knowledge of experts in the field of digital fashion, and then we're presenting them in different formats. And some formats we charge money for, because it takes a lot more time and a lot more skills to put the information together. And other formats, like webinars, we don't charge for. We just use primarily for information and promotion, I guess.
About the educational process, so webinars, schools, and maybe less collaboration, so it's more educational, right? So the way in which you connect.
Yeah, but it's education from a very wide sense of education. So it's not just about us being an academy and selling courses, it's also about us being part of a community and sharing knowledge with people in different ways. And we work a lot with higher education as well to help them understand how they can pivot and how they can develop their own curriculum towards a more digital future. And we charge them for that in different ways, whether it's a consultancy fee for meetings, or whether it's actually them buying part of our courses and us restructuring our courses for them in different ways. So
have you followed recently the fashion show? Like, I know that there was a fashion show in New York, the digital fashion, of course.
Yeah.
And what's your opinion about how like everything is going?
Yeah, I think that's all great. And I think particularly through COVID, fashion was opened up a lot more in the way that we can view and understand and be part of fashion and fashion shows and things. I think that one of the things that holds us back at the moment is that there is a lot of enthusiasm and energy about digital fashion or fashion in the metaverse or whatever, but the technology isn't there yet, not enough. It takes a hell of a lot of technology, a lot of bandwidth in a way to create avatars for fashion shows that look really good. So I think that all these fashion shows are great, good to have, and they're moving towards they're developing towards something. So the more it's done, the better it becomes. And I think it needs to improve a lot more before it's really believable. And also, one of the issues that that the digital fashion group have is that there's a lot of people out there calling themselves digital fashion designers who have never studied fashion design, who don't know anything about fashion. And I really believe very strongly that digital fashion has to be looked at from a phygital perspective. So the physical and the digital coming together. So to understand best how to make digital fashion, you should really understand how physical fashion works. So what the body is like, how you make a garment. Otherwise, what you're doing is that you're working in digital fashion only. So direct to avatar, going from idea, a digital idea, all the way through basically to an asset on blockchain or whatever. And that is perhaps another kind of fashion which isn't about fashion as we have known it previously. So that's all great, and it's all wonderful to use clothing in different ways. But what's important to me is that there's so much energy and creativity being put into this area. It must move and develop in the right way at the right time. Otherwise, it becomes a fad. Otherwise, it becomes something that we look back and we say, yeah, this is 2021 when there was these fashion shows with these kind of clunky avatars, and things will have moved on so much more. So it's very difficult to say digital fashion is one thing, because digital fashion is many, many different things. It's not just one area. It's many different approaches where fashion meets digital.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, I study design, so I know that the people should first study the physical and then go in the digital. So yeah, I'm totally
Yeah.
agree. And speaking about fashion show, to be honest, I'm following like the different metaverse, but I've been to the some I don't know if you know Somnium Space, like the metaverse. It's one
So,
of the metaverse on blockchain, and it's direct in virtual reality. And I've been to their fashion show, and I can say that the quality of the avatars and all the graphics was really, really good. So yeah,
okay.
I don't know if
Tell
you,
me, tell me what the name of that was.
yeah,
Space. Okay, I'll have a look at that. And we are talking to a company who are building a virtual world at the moment to talk to them about how we can work and build an education in that virtual world. And that's really interesting. I find the metaverse can be anything. And I think from a fashion perspective, the metaverse is best probably as a marketplace. But I don't know. At the moment, I would say that, but it depends on how the technology develops. Um, but the one thing that I do not agree with is lots of people who know nothing about fashion actually populating the metaverse and calling it
yeah,
fashion. Phygital, I think the key thing for me about Phygital is really about on-demand manufacturing. And I think that is the key going forward, that digital can ensure the way that on-demand will work. And therefore, garments will be sold from digital. And then once the orders are taken, the company will be able to organize it with the factory. Because at the moment, the fashion industry does it in a really terrible way that, they just manufacture lots and lots and lots of garments and then push them into the market. And it should be done the other way around. And that's why we have such bad waste. We've got every second somewhere on the planet, a truckload of textile waste is dumped into landfill or incinerated every single second. It's phenomenal. And it takes 7,500 litres of water to make one pair of jeans. Now, all this has to stop, and the industry has to become greener and cleaner, and digital can really help with that. I would say that was the only way it's going to happen, unless we all stop buying clothes, which is probably the best thing to do. I really need to go now, Claudia.
Thank you so much,
Lovely,
Leslie.
lovely
Thank
to
you for
talk
your
to you.
time.
No
Okay,
problem at all. Okay, bye-bye.
bye.